Welcome back to your view with me on JJ Tabane. Well done there to Tembinko Sibonagele, the Competition Commissioner, for reading the Riot Act to corporations who are known for nothing but greed. I mean, if there are corporations that are truly greedy, are cell phone companies. They're very greedy. They make billions. They can't even count the kind of profits that they make. And in the meantime, they squeeze us to death more than any other cell phone companies in the world. It's bad. Vodacom is worse because, in fact, it used to have government as its shareholder. I'm not sure what happened to those shares. I think they were sold off, and they became worse. We're still waiting for them to pay back the money of the please call me. That's how greedy they are. They can't even see when they are squeezing the small person, to a point where even a small person who worked for them, right, and indeed gave them something that made them to print money, is still running to the court. They have undermined even the highest court of this land, being asked to settle. But today they are being called out now for their ridiculous data prices. So well done there to the Competition Commission, who are considering all kinds of options to force them to do what is right. Truly corporate scoundrels, if you ask me. But the real scoundrels, I want to talk about the gender-based violence. 16 days, we're going to be talking about it until something happens that will change things, of course. So tonight I thought, you know, as we round off the year, we'll just look at who are the real scoundrels of gender-based violence this year. Let's take a look. All right, so that should take the cake as number one scoundrel of the year when it comes to gender-based violence. Mampinja, beating up babes who do more on air, and then later on say no. The others saying no, they may just have staged it, going to court, withdrawing cases and so on. An example of precisely what we don't need. Right? We don't need people who then abuse the process of the law. Neither do we need a situation where communities force women, in particular, to withdraw cases against some of these scoundrels. Mampinja, in particular, has undermined and insulted South Africa. There's no other way to describe him. Scoundrel. But there were other scoundrels of this year that truly shocked South Africa in their conduct. Lutando Botha being one of them, who killed the young student Mukhejana in a Cape Town post office, is truly a scoundrel. It's just unimaginable. And what makes it worse is when he confesses and actually says, hey, you know, she was so difficult to kill, she was so difficult to die. Scoundrel, because a scoundrel doesn't even realize that they are. They will say things that give them away as people who, in fact, have given up on all decency. Given up altogether. Truly a scoundrel of gender-based violence. Something we must avoid like a plague. May he rot in prison following that sentence by the Cape Town court. Another scoundrel, of course, the world was shocked last week when Aubrey Manaka, who again also was brought to the law, right, confessed of stabbing a young Limpopo student, Precious Ramabulana, 52 times. I don't know what would make anybody be so possessed as to stab someone 52 times. And of course, the big debate is this a norm? Has this become the norm, or is it an exception? And I want to, unfortunately, admit that it has become a norm. It's just that the others do not end up dead. The others who are beaten, who are clapped every day just for being women, who are clapped every day just for having a view, don't end up being stabbed, at least not the first time. They don't end up dead, not after the first clap. But certainly, their partners are in the same league as Aubrey Manaka. Manaka was possessed, but they are equally possessed. And one day, it's a matter of time that a corpse, either of the victim or the perpetrator, will emerge out of a household. And that's when we'll realize how serious gender-based violence is. These guys are scoundrels, and they must be given no oxygen to breathe at all. They must be given no excuse. They must be given no parole. They must be, in fact, increasingly, they must be given no bail. It's time that the justice system came to the party. I understand, as a student of law, that bail is no punishment. But how do you explain to a family that has lost a daughter that someone who stabbed their daughter was in fact out on bail on a similar charge? How do you explain to that family to trust the justice system? How do you say to that family that they should believe that justice is done? Surely something there has got to be done. Our justice system has got to wake up. Last week when we had a roundtable of women activists, they had a lot of things to say about the justice system. In fact, the police minister has agreed on a roundtable to talk to them before the end of this week to explore what is it that the justice system should be doing to come to the rescue of our women folk when they are faced with these scoundrels that we are highlighting tonight. These are those who have been caught. They are scoundrels because we know about their shenanigans now. They are scoundrels because their shenanigans have come to light. How many other scoundrels are in your circle of friends? How many other scoundrels are your business partners? How many other scoundrels go to church with you and they sit in the same pew and sing the same hallelujah with you and you're doing nothing about it? Because it is this conspiracy of silence that fuels these gender-based violence, that fuels these guys to think, yeah, this is being macho, you know, to trap this girl is being macho because what tell her, wait. But tell her, you know, how can they talk to me like this as the man of the house? And then after they trap her, they go to the bar to drink with their friends and say, hey, kemo trapi le waiti. And there's no sense of isolation of gender-based violence perpetrators. Scoundrels must be made to feel that they are no longer welcome in our society, and we must not joke about it. We must not joke, particularly men. We must stop with the nonsense. Because it is us with our conduct of fueling our friends to believe it's okay to clap the wife, because after all, it is behind the walls of my family. Who are you to talk to me about my family? We must stop with that nonsense. If we want to expunge from the face of our society scoundrels like Aubrey Manaka, who can stab a woman 52 times without thinking twice about it. Scoundrels like Mampincha, who think that it is fun and to be a celebrity, to be seen on Instagram clapping your girl and putting her straight. If we want to expunge from the face of our country such scoundrels, we have to start speaking out from within our circles. We'll have to repeat this until it sinks in. Out in Rosebank, a huge exhibition there is being launched that paints our country as a republic of sexual abuse, giving a new name to RSA, the Republic of Sexual Abuse. It must shame us if our republic can be summed up as a republic of sexual abuse. And it's because of scoundrels like these, right, that our country is getting a bad name. Murder capital of the world, things of that nature. Terrible nomenclature that's been associated with the country of Mandela. The country that was meant to be a shining light about perseverance, a shining light to the nations of this world, is tonight known as a republic of sexual abuse. It must shame us. It must truly shame us. Anyway, hopefully, when you see those scoundrels, tell them. In Afrikaans, they say, voor ek sê. Ask somebody next to you what it means. All right, at the bottom of the hour, Samina Nkrumah is my guest, and we're talking about the issues that are facing the continent. We're talking about leadership in the continent. We're talking about challenges facing the continent, but also her own views. You know, I would be interested to know whether she feels that she lives so much under the shadow or the legendary shadow of her dad, or that she has begun to develop her own sense of where the continent is coming. Kwame Nkrumah, one of the historic figures of this country, wanted to see a united Africa. We've seen recently Africa trying to pull itself together where it comes to the economy, to make sure, for example, a simple thing like just trading with each other can start happening. So we're talking about that and many other issues. And of course, at the bottom of, at the top of the next hour, we're talking to the CEO of SANEC. Remember yesterday, I made a reference to the fact that we're still sitting with 2,000 new infections every single week on HIV/AIDS. HIV/AIDS messages have so much disappeared from the national discourse completely. I don't know when last you saw a serious campaign that warns people about the dangers of HIV and AIDS. I don't know when last you had a serious debate about how we roll back the horrific death rate, right, and infection rate of HIV and AIDS. The recent International AIDS Conference highlighted the fact that we got to go back to awareness because there's been so much over-focus on treatment. A lot of people believing, and I don't blame them, right, believing that actually these ARVs are a cure. They just say, you just peel, you don't need to use protection, you can just pop an ARV. That's unfortunately what the current generation has been made to believe by purely silence. The silence of authority, silence of NGOs in this space, just silence when it comes to the issues of HIV and AIDS. So we're talking about that tonight at 10 o'clock, as well as our roundtable tonight with experts to try and help me understand how we fight this deadly disease, HIV and AIDS. Let's take a break now.